Hi, everyone. Welcome to the PoliticAL update with me, Alexandra Acker-Lyons. I pay attention to the political news so you don't have to. This is the advice I give my millionaire clients, and you get it for free. It is Friday, March 6th. Hello from a snowy Denver, finally. We're supposed to get like 5 or 6 inches of snow today. My son is really hoping for an early dismissal. It's been like 60 degrees for the last month, so very welcome. Climate change is real. Um, Announcements. My next Where to Give Now memo will be out by tomorrow. You can go to aladvising.com to read it. It is a much lengthier, in depth analysis of key races, what's happening in politics, with slates of candidates that I think need funding right now. I also talk about organizations doing good work, and it's a lengthier version of these videos. So I'm also going to attempt to put it on Substack, which I've never used before as a content creator, have only used as a content consumer. But I will put that in the notes and link to the website. But if you want even more news and analysis, go check that out at aladvising.com. Okay, jumping in. Voters are voting. Primaries have started. Yay. We had primaries in Texas, North Carolina, and Arkansas this week. Notably in Arkansas, Democrats flipped a seat in the state legislature. That was a special election, not a primary, continuing around that 13-point overperformance. So yay, go team. In Texas, James Tallarico defeated Jasmine Crockett for the nomination to run in the Texas Senate race. I do very much believe that either candidate could win a general election. I also very much believe that we can win this race even if John Cornyn is ultimately the nominee. I'll come back to that. What to me was impressive about Tallarico's victory is not only his support among Latino voters, which was very significant, but that while Crockett did very well with African American voters, in particular African American women, based on the Democratic Party, yay, go. Tallarico really amassed great numbers with AAPI voters, young voters, suburban voters, and just seems to kind of have the broad support that you'll need in a general election. So I'm really proud of Jasmine Crockett. I supported her. I think Tallarico is also a great candidate. And it's going to cost a lot of money to win in Texas. Had we been investing there at scale since Beto's run in 2018, I think we would have an even better shot, obviously, and a shot at the governor's race. But it's going to be hard to put together the kind of infrastructure we need in Texas in 7 months. But it is definitely winnable. And we have to be putting Texas and Florida on the map for Democrats if we want any chance at winning the Electoral College and Senate seats down the road. So keep expanding the map. In North Carolina, several Democratic turncoats who voted to override Democratic governors' vetoes lost their primaries. So that is good news. We've got people on our side now who are willing to stand up for our values. And in addition, we feel really good about being able to add a couple more Democratic seats in the legislature. So we broke that supermajority last cycle. Now we got rid of some turncoats, and now we can add a couple of seats to that margin in an effort towards building back, taking the majorities after redistricting in 2030, which seems so far away, but isn't. So just really, really proud of North Carolina. They have a wonderful state party chair. They have great groups on the ground putting in the work. And obviously all of this bodes really well for the Senate race there, where Democratic turnout in the primaries was higher than Republican turnout, even though neither was terribly competitive. So that's good for enthusiasm. In Montana, we had a last minute switcheroo with incumbent Republican Steve Daines deciding not to run for re-election at the very last minute. This was a brazen attempt to keep a high profile Democrat out of the race. They have said so publicly. But there is an independent named Seth Bodner, who's the former president of the University of Montana, which notably has campuses all over the state. So he really has like traveled all over the state, knows that state really well. He's also a former Army Ranger, might be a Green Beret. I think running an independent in Montana, is a great idea. Could prove to be kind of like a Dan Osborne in Nebraska. A similar group of folks are from Montana are helping to make his campaign real, and so more to come on that. But this undemocratic practice, as we also saw with Chuy Garcia in Illinois, of dropping out at the last minute is just unacceptable. And in Illinois, go give to my good friend Myra Macias, who is running as an independent for Congress in that seat because she was prevented from running in the Democratic primary. Also, in New York, the Supreme Court declined to force Democrats to redistrict a couple of seats, including the Staten Island seat that is held by a Republican. Could have been a pickup there. So once again, Republicans are kind of saying redistricting is okay for Republicans, but not for Democrats. Big shock. And I just wanted to note too, the next set of primaries includes Illinois on March 17th, where there is a very competitive Senate primary to replace Dick Durbin. Juliana Stratton is a wonderful, impressive candidate. She is the current lieutenant governor. She has the backing of Governor J.B. Pritzker and Senator Tammy Duckworth. She had been at a pretty big cash disadvantage heading into that race. There is still time to give her some money, and she would be a fabulous senator. And with Jasmine Crockett having lost that primary, this is our only chance this cycle to add yet another Black woman to the United States Senate, and she would be a fabulous senator. So I will put a link to give to her in the notes. Okay, other political news. We went to war with Iran. That is a thing that happened this week that we seem to have already forgotten about. No doubt, going to war in a massive, powerful country in the Middle East with absolutely no plan for what comes next seems like a great idea. Already seeing gas prices go up, concerns about control over the Straits of Hormuz, which is a huge shipping channel. Seeing, of course, the Sunni Shiite proxy wars already happening. It's just a mess, and I hope that it ends very quickly and that we get the hell out of there, having sown some chaos. But, my heart just goes out to the Iranian people who didn't ask for this, and in fact had asked for a peaceful transfer of power through the protests in the streets that were put down by the regime. Terrible regime, okay, some good riddance, Ayatollah, but it is not our place to go in and assassinate leaders, and certainly to do it without a plan. So be keeping an eye on that. Once again, President Trump causing messes and not cleaning them up. Kristi Noem got fired. That's pretty fun. Not super confident in Markwayne Mullin, her named replacement, but she was just corrupt, completely incompetent, and heartless. And so that's not a great combination in leaders. And, very excited that we no longer have to pay with our tax dollars for her private jets and her promotional videos. Also want to note that Denver is a finalist to host the Democratic National Convention in 2028. You may remember that Denver hosted in 2008 with then nominee Obama. And it was a wonderful city to host a convention in. I didn't live here then, but they did a great job. The other finalists are Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, and Philadelphia. I have been to the Boston, Chicago, and Philadelphia conventions, also great cities. Atlanta in August doesn't seem like the best idea we've ever had. But I think all of these are great choices. But of course, I am partial to Denver. So looking to see a decision on that coming pretty soon. 2028, I have not seen a lot of 2028 potential candidates speaking out really forcefully about the war in Iran. A couple of them have. Some of the ones who are in the Senate have kind of talked about, oh, this is an illegal war, war powers resolution. We haven't voted on any of this, but it's all still kind of like mealy-mouthed politician stuff. And I would like to see us do better. So candidates, do better. Get out there. And my shout out of the week goes to my dogs, Banana and Jack, who just love the snow. And I took them for a walk this morning, and we had like less than an inch on the ground, but they were having the snow zoomies and having a great time. And it was just the 4-year anniversary of us adopting Banana, and we're just a couple of days away from the 2-year anniversary of us adopting Jack. And I'd always been a cat mom. I never had a dog until we got Banana 4 years ago. And they are one of the things that have just brought me so much joy in this moment. So thank you, and very proud to be a dog mom. All right. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.